Hi and welcome to this week's Fried AI with me, Billy McLaughlin, where I cut through the fuss and get to the facts on how this week's AI news affects accountants, bookkeepers and finance professionals. We have seen some incredible news this week from people being brought back from the dead to do a victim statement in a US courthouse. Very, very moving. We've also seen in the UAE an announcement that every child from the age of 5 will learn artificial intelligence through their entire educational system. And also Simon Cowell and Elton John have teamed up against AI, which I've got more news on in a moment. Other headlines I've got for you include the new updates from Claud and how they can impact our industry, a new tool that is set to send shockwaves through the accounting and bookkeeping world, and finally, whether you're a vendor or a professional, there is some news that's coming that I think will be very welcome for all. Now let's start with the battle of the big names. So the government are currently looking at creating an exemption in law on AI models requesting permission to use copyrighted data to train their models. They'll no longer have to ask the permission of the creator unless the creator has opted out. Now, as you can imagine, this has sent huge shockwaves through the creative industry, and an open letter has been written to Keir Starmer with around 800 big names backing it, including Ian McKellen. In this letter, it does say that the government appear to be putting AI advancements ahead of creativity. If you have clients in the creative field, the decision's getting made on Monday. I don't think from seeing the government's responses that Keir Starmer's going to budge on this one. Your clients may need a little bit of support on how to opt out, providing the information is available, and also how to protect their IP and ultimately their royalties. Moving on to Claud, which is a huge name in the world of AI, and they've just made an upgrade to their research capabilities. This is obviously a trend. We've seen OpenAI do deep research, Google Gemini has functionality. But Claude, despite already having access to the web and also your Google Workspace, if you didn't use that, it's very, very good. Please do link it into your Google Workspace if you're a Google user. But Claude now also has capability to integrate with any apps and use those as a source of information that you've integrated into the product. For accountants, this means we're one step closer to having that overarching eye that can see everything that we're doing and all the tools that we are using. Integration wise, we've got PayPal, we've got Asana, which is essentially Trello, and also Zapier, which is basically giving Claude the keys to the kingdom. The real cherry on the cake is definitely the fact that now it means that something like Claude can understand the context, it can see previous actions done within workflows, within all different apps, and therefore respond in a much more concise way that is tailored to you and your firm. Earlier this week, I was lucky enough to get a glimpse at a new tool called Artifact. Artifact are planning on being the first AI accountant, which allows you to just be a high-level action taker instead of getting into the weeds of doing the day-to-day work. Interestingly, when I asked who their main competitor was, they said it's not a software, they're actually going for outsourcing, and that is the area they really plan to disrupt for accountants. The data capture tool comes with authenticity checks and line extraction as standard. It has bank feeds to a really large variety of banks, more than most bookkeeping tools, including US ones, and can allow auto reconciliations. And it can see work that you've previously done and therefore know what journals need to be posted. Rules aren't needed. You can essentially talk to it like a human and type to it like you would a human colleague. So really giving you that feeling like you're managing this digital employee. And one thing I really liked was the integration with HMRC. So none of this 64-8, trying to get codes, getting the client to send them to you, they don't exist. Oh my gosh, what a drain that was. Actually, what it can do is it links to HMRC. You just put in the client data, the client can tick in their system that it authorises you, and it pulls through into the system, including dates and deadlines and previous information. To say, I've met 2 of the founders who've got very impressive resumes, so keep your ears to the ground and see what is to come over the next 12 months for Artifact. And finally, the FCA are launching a live testing tool for AI models coming in September. The plan here is to make sure that they are effective, they're safe, and they are compliant before going to public market. So the FCA are going to be providing firms with guidance to align AI tools with compliance standard and consumer protection. This basically means they're going to be collecting real-world data and testing it in essentially a sandbox environment before allowing it to be made public. Now, I know firms are not essentially regulated by the FCA, but what this does is give it that stamp of approval and also give us that reassurance that regulation is there, despite it lagging a little bit, and maybe it's a kind of view of what's to come in the future. That's everything from me this Friday. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next week.